Martina Navratilova suggests the Australian Open made a mistake for Alex Eala's first-round match. Alexandra Eala's Australian Open campaign was brought to a stuttering halt on Monday by American player Alicia Parks. Eala seemed to be in full control after winning the first set 6-0. Unfortunately for Filipino fans, Eala was unable to capitalize on her advantage, losing the next two sets 6-3, 6-2. Despite the loss, Eala's support at the Australian Open has been incredible. Lines of fans queued up to watch her match and Filipino flags could be seen scattered across the court's 6 crowd. Eala, who may be the most popular figure in tennis, expressed her gratitude for the support after the contest. After Eala's loss, Lindsay Davenport and Martina Navratilova discussed Eala's popularity, while noting a mistake Australian Open organizers made. Martina Navratilova urges Australian Open organizers to pay more attention to player popularity. Navratilova began the discussion, praising the fans who waited in line to watch Eala on Monday. Lindsay Davenport was trying to get there, to court 6. It's amazing that people were so nicely standing in line, Navratilova said on the Tennis Channel. But they would be there for at least an hour, if they ever got to the match. So kudos to the fans. The players have no idea this is happening. Lindsay Davenport, the 1999 Wimbledon women's singles champion, added, Eala probably needed to be on a bigger show court. She's, I think, probably the most famous female from the Philippines, certainly one of the most famous people ever to come through their sporting world, and there were so many fans here who were just waiting to get in there. I just wanted to go see Alicia Parks play. You weren't getting anywhere near that court. Navratilova, an 18-time Grand Slam singles champion, later continued the discussion, urging Australian Open organizers to pay more attention to respective fan bases and the popularity of players. The organizers need to keep more in mind where the players are from and what the actual fan base is here, Navratilova added. Because there's massive Filipino audience in Melbourne, in Australia, so keep that in mind next time you make the schedule. Alex Eala's popularity is simply remarkable. Wherever the Filipina goes, her fans follow. Alicia Parks, Eala's opponent on Monday, noted the partisan crowd, describing the atmosphere as very difficult. Parks, the world number 99, will play 19th seed Karolina Muchova in the second round. Alexandra Eala's next Australian Open match. Eala is set to make another appearance in Melbourne on Tuesday morning, when she teams up with Brazil's Ingrid Guimara Martins for the women's doubles event. The pair, who are unseeded, will play Magda Linette and Shuko Aoyama in the first round. If Eala and Guimara Martins defeat the Polish and Japanese pair, they will face Linda Noskova and Rebecca Sramkova or 6th seeds Asia Muhammad and Erin Routliffe in the second round. Katerina Siniakova and Taylor Townsend, the top seeds, are the defending Australian Open women's doubles champions. When legends speak and futures listen, Martina Navratilova, Alex Eala, and the question of a first-round mistake. In tennis, the lines are sharply drawn. Baselines define the court, service boxes impose order, and rankings attempt to arrange talent into a neat hierarchy. Yet the sport itself has never truly obeyed straight lines. It moves in arcs, the slow rise of prodigies, the sudden fall of favorites, the unexpected collision of generations. When Martina Navratilova suggested that the Australian Open had made a mistake in Alex Eala's first-round match, she was not merely critiquing a draw. She was questioning how the sport introduces its future to its present. Navratilova has earned the right to question tennis. Her career was not simply decorated with trophies, it was built on disruption. She changed how women trained, how they ate, how they thought about fitness and longevity. When she speaks, she does not speak as a commentator peering from the outside, but as someone who once stood on the fault line between promise and proof. Her voice carries the authority of experience and the impatience of someone who knows how easily potential can be mishandled. Alex Eala represents a different kind of tennis story, one that feels both modern and timeless. She comes from a nation not traditionally etched into the deepest chapters of tennis history, and that alone makes her presence on the Grand Slam stage an act of quiet rebellion. Her game is still forming, like a sentence written in pencil rather than ink. Each tournament adds a new clause, a new emphasis. For players like Eala, The first round of a major is not just a match, it is an introduction, a handshake with the sport's largest audience. This is where Navratilova's concern takes root. A first-round matchup can be a bridge or a wall. It can offer space to breathe, to feel the court, to let nerves settle into rhythm. Or it can throw a young player into a storm so violent that the lesson overshadows the opportunity. When the balance tips too far toward punishment, the sport risks mistaking severity for fairness. The Australian Open, proud of its reputation as the happy slam, has long presented itself as a place of opportunity. New year, new season, fresh stories. Yet even in happiness, there can be blind spots. Draws are made by rules and rankings, by algorithms that claim neutrality. But neutrality does not always equal wisdom. Navratilova's suggestion of a mistake is not an accusation of malice. It is a reminder that systems, however well designed, can still fail to nurture. Imagine stepping onto Rod Laver Arena for the first time, the air buzzing with expectation, the crowd a living organism of sound and movement. For a seasoned champion, this is familiar territory. For a young player, it can feel like walking into a cathedral mid-sermon. The court is the same size it has always been, yet it feels larger, more exposed. Every error echoes. Every success feels borrowed until proven otherwise. Navratilova understands this psychology intimately. She knows that development is not linear and that confidence is a fragile resource. Throwing a young player into an unforgiving first-round matchup may test character, but it may also distort growth. Tennis loves its trial-by-fire narratives, but it forgets how many stories were extinguished by flames that burned too hot, too soon. This does not mean Alex Eala should be protected from challenge. On the contrary, challenge is the currency of progress. But timing matters. Context matters. There is a difference between being challenged and being overwhelmed, between being stretched and being snapped. Navratilova's critique invites us to consider whether the sport sometimes confuses exposure with opportunity. For Eala, the match itself is only one chapter. Win or lose, she carries the weight of representation, of being watched not just as an individual but as a symbol of possibility. That weight can inspire, but it can also burden. A first-round draw that leans too heavily towards spectacle over sustainability risks turning a moment of arrival into a moment of surviva.